Welcome to the Legacy Podcast, guys. This week's episode features Kendall Ficklin. He's a motivational speaker who has spoken for the likes of NFL, AT&T, and he also has a community called Grindation, which seeks to take your business and your life to the next level. He's also a 4-time published author. Kendall, thank you so much for being here today, brother. Appreciate your time.
Great grind day, great grind day. That has become my slogan. Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Every time somebody introduces me, I hear all that stuff sometimes, and I'm like, who are they talking about? Who are they talking about?
Yeah, no, it's amazing what you've done. So no, I appreciate you taking the time out to be with the audience today and speak to them. So I want to just start by going into one of the videos you actually did on Instagram. I think you said passion drives you and your purpose guides you. So I want to know what is your passion? What drives you, and what is the purpose that is guiding you at the moment?
So what drives me is it is that thing. It's something inside. So I always tell the story, and I don't want to be long with it, but I tell the story when I was 5 years old, how my dad used to cook breakfast in the kitchen. I might even been 4 years old. He would cook breakfast on Sunday mornings in the kitchen after being out on Saturday drinking all night. But he used to make the best Sunday breakfasts. I mean, he would cut the potatoes up, cut them up from scratch, not the frozen potatoes that everybody does now, and put them in the microwave. He would cut the potatoes up from scratch. He would fry the eggs up, and he would just, and not a huge, a simple breakfast, but just the way he made it, it just tasted so good. But while he was in the kitchen cooking, I would be in the living room watching TV. And at that time on TV, the preachers would come on TV and they would preach. And I would just sit there and watch them. I didn't know what they were saying. I didn't know what they were talking about, but I would just be enamored by what I saw. And then there's one particular day, I was watching preach on TV, and my dad came in, and he came in and turned the channel. And I was like, "No, Daddy, what you doing? What you doing? Don't turn the channel. Don't turn the channel." And he was like, I was like, "Who was that? Who was that?" And he couldn't remember what it was. But he turned it back for me, and I just started watching again, almost like I was sitting on my hands, waiting and watching. And I know what they were saying. And then my mom used to take me to church, and I would sit in the pew, and she never had to tell me to be quiet. I never wanted to go to what they call children's church. I just wanted to sit there and listen to this word. I couldn't tell you what that preacher was talking about. I wasn't even caught, but I was just enamored by that. And so even throughout my life, I never taught. Even through school, I never spoke. Somebody put on Facebook a couple of years ago, man, that I went to high school with, man, we didn't even know you could talk when you were in high school. We thought you were mute. We thought something was wrong with you because I didn't speak when I was in high school or when I was in middle school. And so, but as I was coming up, I was always talking to myself, and I would look at situations and look at people and see things happening. And I always wanted to say something, but I didn't have the power on the inside to do it. And it wasn't until I got a little older and I kind of came into myself. And so as I was cutting hair and in the barbershops and living life and in corporate America in the 90s, and I started to get confidence. And the more confident I got, I would use platforms. So I would use the platform of cutting hair. Not to cut hair. I would use that platform to speak, to let that passion that was inside of me, that passion that I saw when I was 5 years old, that passion that I would see throughout my life that I was holding in, I would use platforms to help me get after my passion. And the more and more I did it, passion started pushing me, but the purpose, because the passion is let me stand flat-footed and share something. Let me stand here and coach somebody from behind this chair, the barber's chair. Let me do something. Purpose means let me do it with a purpose. Let me do it to affect change. Let me do it to make an impact. So for example, you saw the video. The passion is what sat me in the chair to do it. The purpose on the other end is you catching it and being able to take it and make it an impact in your life. That's passion driving me and purpose pulling me. And when people can understand and get to the point and be vulnerable enough for the passion to do that, then they'll be able to let their purpose take them where they need to be.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that, because your purpose needs to be something that's bigger than you. And I think when you get
Okay.
when you get to that level, as you said, it naturally starts to pull you rather than you having to walk
Yep.
towards it and feel like you're
Exactly.
making an effort to go in that direction. It's naturally pulling you in that direction. So I'm
Yep.
curious to know, with that, then, going through the barbershop and going to church when you were younger, what was it that helped you find your message? Because every speaker's got a message. What's your message, and how did you craft that?
So your message is what I call, it's always your ULE, right? It's your unique life experience, right? And so for me, depending on the audience that I'm speaking to, is going to determine which ULE, unique life experience, I use. So if I'm speaking to some elementary school students, I talk about my kindergarten teacher, Miss White, that I used to have a crush on when I was in kindergarten, and how she used to rub on my back. That's a unique life
Yeah.
experience for me. If I'm talking to high school students, I'll talk about unique life experiences from high school. And so for me, it is knowing that your story is from the day you were born until this very moment. And so you have to be able to extract real life and share real life with people. Because I tell all the speakers that I train, nobody cares about your story until you can tell them how you've come through what you've been through. So I can get on here, I can tell you some great stories, but everybody got a story. What's like, I mean, everybody, yeah, my father was an alcoholic. He was present, but he didn't have a presence. My mom never told me she loved me. I broke my leg, climbed up the cherry tree. Everybody got a story. But how did you come through what you've been through? That is the connector piece. And so you always want to make sure that your unique life experience is what you give to the people. If you're not, like, so my guys, when they come with me sometime when I'm going to speak, they'll ask me, so what you going to speak about? I have no clue sometimes. Like, I really don't know until I'm going to stand up. I need to feel the energy. I need to feel what my audience needs. And based on what they need, I can pick different stories, experiences from my life, and share with them and wrap principles around it. That is the key to being great at what you do and walking in purpose. Because I'm not trying to come there and so that's like if you invite me to come speak and I'm so arrogant to say, well, this is what I want to tell your people. This is what I want to speak to your people about. I don't know anybody in your audience. So I'm going to ask you, what would you like for me to speak about? What would you like for me to give to them? Because you know your people. And then let's just say, if you tell me I want you to talk about accountability, there's somewhere in my life where I've experienced accountability. There's a story that connects to that. And that's what I do. I go down and I pull a story. And because I don't have to constantly think about what I'm talking about, I am free mentally to give you fresh baked bread, I like to call it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So you're crafting your message based on that audience. And I think it's important what you said. Everyone does have a story. And I hear that so many times. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. But I think from what you're saying, it's the message that you take away from it and the message that you glean from it that you can then go and share with others. Because as you said, everyone, may have broken a leg or their dad walked out on them. But what did you learn from that, and how did you actually get through it? And that's how other people are going to connect with you, because they're going to feel like, I've gone through that. If that mindset is helping him, I'm going to adopt that mindset as well. So I'll just share quickly with myself in terms of the biggest thing that I've been through in the last few years is a skin condition. And I've talked about that in many different podcasts before, where it got me to a point where I was struggling to study at university. I felt like quitting because of it. And it was just basically very severe. I had to take loads of steroids, specialist doctors couldn't diagnose it, et cetera. And it hit my confidence, hit my social life, everything. But what people can take away from that, now that I've come out of that phase and I reflect and take away the message from it, and it made me so much more of a stronger character and built mental muscles rather than physical muscles, because it broke down my body physically. I couldn't go to the gym, et cetera. And so it stopped me from doing a lot of the things I enjoyed, and basic things like walking up the stairs, painful. I couldn't bend my joints. But it taught me to be a warrior, because the next time I felt pain, it was nothing, because the standard was so high now. The smallest thing wasn't something I was going to complain about anymore. And so I try and help people through that by saying, giving them that little story. And so, in terms of the speaking that you're doing, when was it when you first started speaking? Were you speaking from your teenage years, or is it something that you've sort of evolved and adopted over time as a character?
in school, maybe once or twice, I did a little presentation in class. I was in corporate America in the 90s. I did a couple of presentations there. It was there when I did a couple of presentations in corporate America that I knew I had something, like I knew I could do it because I wasn't scared. Like I never got up and was scared. To me, it was always like turn on the lights. Even though I was quiet and didn't speak, it was turn on the lights. And don't get me wrong, I get nervous now, but I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared then. I would say honestly, like when I told you when I was 5 years old, I've always known that I was going to be doing it in some capacity. And I think like some people, like a lot of the people that I train, the speakers that I train, I tell them don't get caught up in the labels, right? So some of them say they want to be a motivational speaker, transformational speaker, they're an inspirational speaker. Allow your audience to tell you who you are to them. And I think when we get caught up in the labels of calling ourselves, that's like saying you sweet and you ain't that sweet. Like you ain't that good. So you want to just stand up and deliver your message to the world. Like be yourself and deliver your message. And from the time I was a little boy, I knew that this is what I was supposed to be doing. But like all of us, V, we go through life. Things happen and we live life. I was still, when I was drinking, when I was an alcoholic, I was still speaking. So the question I always tell people is ask me when I got committed. Because that's when the game changed. When I got committed, when I had the opportunity to work with the best motivational speaker in the world, to walk with him, to learn and glean from him, I got committed almost 5 years ago. And that's when the game changed, in the commitment. Because in the commitment came more practice. In the commitment became more commitment. I got connected, I got confident, and I got consistent.
You made the decision to go all in. So
made the decision to go I'm talking about all in.
Yeah. So is that what you're doing full time now then? That's what
I haven't worked a 9 to 5 in over 20 years.
Yeah.
I've always been a businessman. I've always been doing that. So, but no, I do. And so like, here's what I tell people. So some people are like, I'm an entrepreneur. I got this business, that business, this business, that, and that's great. This is what I do. I coach, I speak, and with labels, I coach, I speak, and I write books. That's it. And I'm a consultant. That's it. I don't do nothing else. So when like my son does real estate, I tell my son, look, we're going to do real estate. I'm going to give you money and you do the real estate. I don't have time. That's not what I do. I stay in my lane and I'm practicing my craft, perfecting my craft, honoring my craft. And I think, so I'm 50. I'll be 50 tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's my birthday. I'll be 50.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. And I think one of the things the younger generation doesn't do, we don't take the time, practice, master, and honor the craft. Whatever craft it is that you're working on, whatever, like you're doing podcasts, take the time, practice it, master it, become a master interviewer, become a master at what you do. And when you do that and become great at it, people will pay you to be great. So they asked me, how did you get the contract with I got a contract with the Chicago Bears, not a speaking engagement. How did you get the contract with the Bears? Because when I got on the phone with the guy, he was like, man, I've been watching you for the last year on YouTube. Because I got committed and I've been practicing, mastering, and honoring the craft. He didn't say I saw you on YouTube selling houses, because I wasn't selling houses, I was speaking. He didn't say I saw you on YouTube doing some other business. He saw me speaking consistently. Boom, boom, boom. That's how you found me, on Instagram, consistently. I hit like, you looked at my page, and you didn't just say, I want to get him on the podcast because you saw a couple of videos. You went through to look at some consistency. I know you did. So it's a body of work. And far too often, this generation, the newer generation, we want everything quick. I used to be the same way. Like, I want it quick now. I ain't no used to. I want certain things fast now, but certain things got to cook a little long. When it cook a little longer, it tastes a little better.
Yeah, no, you're right, definitely. I heard someone say this once, and it's always stuck with me. Like, we're in a microwave society, and people just want it cooked up in 2 minutes, man. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. So I mean, you know, obviously now that you've been a speaker for quite some time, you mentioned a little while back that obviously you work with the best, and you know, I saw that on your story just a few days ago,
Right.
and I was like, damn man, you know, you definitely come a long way to be able to, you know, be around ET. So I saw you're an ETA certified speaker. So how did that come about, and when did that actually happen?
I'm one of the original certified speakers. So about 4 years ago, one of the shops, I used to own barbershops. I used to cut hair.
Yeah.
And CJ, you know CJ, which is the president of ETA, was getting his haircut at the shop. It was one of the shops that I had sold. A couple of my guys have still worked there and actually cut his hair. So I got a call one day from one of my guys that used to work with me, and he said, "Yo, do you know CJ?" And I was like, "Of course I know. I see him everywhere, of course." And he said, he's here in the shop. I've been telling him about you, blah, blah, blah. So I got on the phone with him and did my best to schedule a coffee with him. You know, go to Starbucks, let's have a coffee. Because I saw the opportunity, right? And was able to go and do coffee with them. And let me back up a minute because I need to share this with your listeners.
Yeah.
It's a part in there that they gotta know. I got on the phone with him and I was speaking with him and I was telling him, you know, like, man, I just love to go have coffee with you so we can sit down and talk. And he said, well, you know, E and I are going to California for a little while. I'll call you when I come back. I'll get your number from my guy. And I was like, let me get your number. Because you can't count your money if it's in somebody else's pocket.
Yep.
Right? That could have been an opportunity. He could forget. He's busy. He got a lot going on. I don't know and I can't put my destiny, my life in somebody else's hands. So I got his number. About a week when I was about to call him, he had called me and we scheduled coffee. So we went to Starbucks and we were having coffee and I'm listening to him, you know. Now my dude had already showed him my YouTube, so he saw some talent, all raw talent, just completely raw. I didn't know what I was doing. So, you know, had the coffee and everything. And I just came out and asked him, I said, I want you to coach me. Like, I need you to coach me. I wasn't just looking at him. I knew what he could do. I was looking at the brand, I had met E.T. I didn't sit and have coffee with E.T. I had coffee with the president with his right hand. And then so he said, I'll get back to you and let you know. About a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, he called me back and he said, I got a spot open. It's going to cost X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh, to myself, I was like, whoa. I didn't have it. I did not have the money. I knew I didn't have it. He said, it's going to cost this, and that. And boom, boom, boom. And I was like, oh. He said, so what you want to do? I said, yeah, sign me up. I need hear me. I did not have the money. I said, yeah, sign me up. Because in my mind, I was saying, I'll get the money. Because there was an opportunity there, right? And so my only saving grace was it was around November. And he said, we're going to start after the holidays. And I was like, yes, got time to get the money together.
Yeah.
And so throughout that process, I sat with him every week, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. in his house, in his office, and we were putting it together. And I went through the ups and the downs and the trials and going through the life's go-throughs and following his advice, never sleeping around, never going to get 2 or 3 different coaches, staying focused, staying on my grind with him, learning and growing. I still hadn't met E.T. A year went by. I probably met him at a conference, but I wasn't walking with him like I am now. And then one day I had got on the road with them and started going to all the conferences out of my pocket. I didn't have to pay to get in the conferences, but I had to pay to get there. And I was broke. Like I was cutting hair and making money, but I wasn't making money. And I would just tell my wife, like, you know, I'm gonna sleep in the airport. She'd say, like, I booked your flight. Where you want me to get your hotel? I ain't got no money for a hotel. I'm sleeping in Starbucks in the airport. I did that for almost 2 years. Not just go to the airport and sleep one night, but sometimes get to the airport, go to the conference, go back to the airport, then the next day go back to the conference. And I did that for a year and a half. I was paying my coaching fees before my mortgage, paying coaching fees before car notes, always making sure that because there was no way I was going to go tell him, like, yo, I don't have it. I need to check out and come back in. When I go, I got a line of people behind me trying to take my spot. I had to stay in the pocket. And what happens is so many of us, we playing. Like you the quarterback of your life, and you playing, and you got the ball, and you backing up, and the blitz is coming. And you run out to blitz because you physically can run, but you running out of the pocket. If you just stayed in the pocket for a little while longer, a block was gonna come. But now you done ran out the pocket and you out to play. And you either forced to run out of bounds or you get sacked. And I refused to jump out the pocket. I said, I'm just gonna stand here in the pocket and wait for a block to come. And when the block come, I can see the field a little better when some stuff gets moved out the way. So I never got out the way. So I got coached and I got connected, meaning I got on the road, I got committed, and then I got consistent. And then after about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, I had the opportunity to walk with the guru. Yeah. And it was almost like a transition. You know, CJ was like, all right, boom, there you go. Because he gave me a piece, and now I walk with E. I travel with him all over the country. And, you know, he's training me step by step. And when the Certified Speakers Program came in, I had already been. The Certified Speakers Program just started in 2017. I had already been. I'm one of the original. Yeah. There was three or four of us that were original. And when that came into play, because I was one of the original, yeah, because CJ was bringing me through. Now I'm one of the coaches, so I coach his certified speakers.
Wow, that's an amazing story, man. And yeah, it just shows that the commitment level you're talking about, staying at an airport and paying your coaching fees before your mortgage. That's a scary thing to do, man. So it brings.
That's my wife.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Yeah, no. It brings me nicely onto a video that I saw of yours. You know, you're talking about me scrolling through, and I did do that, and I went through your YouTube channel, and I wanted to see what you were about. And so, one of the videos you posted when you were playing basketball with your daughter outside, you said about you know, believe in it before you see it, and you have to do that for such a long period of time. And obviously, it seemed like you've done that for quite some time to get to where you are before you saw the results. You know, when you're going through the coaching period, when you were paying those fees before paying your bills, what were the sort of things that were going through your mind? Like, what kept you going? How did you stay motivated through that period when you saw no results and you were putting your money in that direction, basically putting your money where your mouth is? But then at the same time, did you not find it slightly fearful that, oh, you know, where am I going to get the money to pay the bills? You know, I got to do that as well. So how did you face that situation and go through that?
I knew I couldn't go back. I'm gonna be honest. Like it sometimes, so average people say, show me and I'll believe, right? That's average people. Those are the people that want what it looks like, but don't want what it feels like. Now, I had done a whole bunch of stuff in my life. I owned barbershops, had businesses before. I had done that. I had failed at that, right? And so I was that type of person that would say, I already believe, now let me show you. It was like I had to prove it to myself that I could do it. My problem was with follow through. My problem was with keeping it going when I wasn't seeing the results. This is what people don't catch. If you got a coach, if you got a real coach, that's not just saying on paper that they're a coach, a real coach that went from 0 to 6 figures hard, like somebody real that ain't just virtual famous, like Instagram famous, to where you all fluff, you all fluff and filler, you ain't got no substance, right? If you got a real coach like I did, and I was connected to something real, I didn't have to see all of my results. I saw my results through them. I saw them do it. So I know I could do it. And it was just that simple. And that's where that other level of belief comes in. So as I was going through it, going through my ups and downs, going through the go through, not having enough, not being able to, even when I didn't see the results for me immediately, I was still like, I see the results. I see CJ doing it. I see, because I'm in the loop now. I'm behind the scenes. I'm seeing the way the business is really, I'm seeing them go through in spite of. I'm listening to deals being worked and maybe not going through. I'm looking at E go and speak and empower and impact people. I'm seeing the checks for $30,000, $40,000, and $50,000. They're not my checks, but if my coach can get them and he got the key, he got the roadmap, I can get it. But most people, they want what it looks like. They don't want what it feels like. So when they don't see the results in themselves, they walk away. It's like you go to the gym. January 1st came and everybody said, I'm trying to give me muscles. Let me all go to the gym and start working out. By January 20th or the 25th, they didn't see any muscles coming. And so they were like, this ain't working. I'm about to get out of here because they didn't see it. The muscles were there. It was up under some fat that you ain't get rid of because you ain't changed your diet. So as I was rocking with them, I was working. I didn't see the muscles, but I knew they were there because my trainer had the muscles. I had the muscles underneath. I just had to change my diet and eat right to get rid of that fat so it could see it. So I just kept on the road. I'll be honest with you. Like there was never, ever, ever, ever a time where I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to quit. Because I knew I was right there. Because I knew everybody doesn't get the opportunity to work with greatness.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you. It just goes back to what we were saying about going all in. I think then also, I think I found this to be the case in my situation is that the universe starts to help you out as well in little small ways. You know, it starts to go in your favor only because you've made that decision firmly first, and you haven't let your fear overcome or overtake you, and then it starts to carry you through some of the difficult situations. You start to see a little bit of the magic happen. So I'm curious, how have you sort of changed as a speaker before and after spending time with Ian and being an ETA sort of certified speaker? What changes have you seen in yourself?
So there are times when sometimes I'll do talks and I'll show some of the old talks that I keep on my YouTube page, just to remind me of the growth. I used to be a rah-rah speaker, no substance, just a lot of hype, a lot of rah-rah. I'm talking about with the baby as well as the adults. And now I show some of the talks that I do now, and I train speakers all over the country. I've matured and I have range. So I do corporate training, professional development, and believe it or not, I'm actually funny. I got some humor. I think the biggest change is I don't focus on doing a presentation. My focus is having a conversation. And the more, sometimes people get caught up in, I got to present, and you make it nervous. Just be yourself. Just having a conversation like we're doing.
That's definitely. If you see my first podcast, that's the one big change that's happened is because I was nervous. I was trying to manufacture my words at the start, and now because it's so free flowing, I feel like I'm slowly starting to master the art of having a conversation rather than making it into something that's manufactured. Because people can feel it. People can see the difference when you're talking free flow and letting the energy just flow, compared to trying to controlling every frame, every aspect, every moment. You can't do that. You have to just let it flow. So
literally what you're doing is just like a speaker. For example, I've had podcast interviews and people send me the questions. I never look at them because I love for it to be organic and natural. So when you said V at the beginning, when you said, we're just going to let it flow, like we're just going to, it allows your listeners to get the organic, the authentic information. And so you should be able to take something I say and grab a question from it and flow right into it because it's a natural progression to where I've been on some interviews and guys have this rigid thing, and that's when I take over the interview. No.
I was just going to say, I completely agree with you. That's where the mistake happens, I think. And because I listened to quite a few podcasts before I launched my own, and that's one thing I saw was the questions, the set questions, and the way that it sounded is just so generic, and every person was asked the same questions as well. Every character is different. Everyone has a different story. Why would you ask them the same questions? And then the second thing was it wasn't recorded face to face, because it's human connection, man. Like the coaching that you do, imagine it over the phone compared to someone you speak to in person and they're sitting across the table from you. The same way when you got coached by CJ or ET now, it wouldn't have been as effective if it was all just over the phone compared to you in the room listening to him speak. It's completely different.
I never liked over the phone. So every times if he was traveling or I was traveling, like, hey, we're gonna do over the phone, I used to be like, I'll just see you next week. I'll just see you next week. Yeah, because it was different. Yeah, it's different. So even now when I work with my clients, I do Zoom, just like we're doing now. I do a Zoom call, we do a face-to-face, and they're all over the country, and it just gives it that personal touch. And for my personal clients that come in, I meet them in their city, and we do a couple of hours. So my personal clients come in, meet you in the city, we're gonna do a couple of hours face-to-face and develop that relationship. And then, because I tell people, I don't work with people from the outside in. And what I mean by that is, you don't tell me what you want. The first question I ask you is who you are. And then I help you from the inside out, because nothing is going to come to you until something comes from you. There's a change that needs to take place. And I do that, like you asked me how, when I'm speaking, I do that because I can't coach you to where I haven't been. or where I'm not at. I can only coach you through and to something. And so the through has to be, who are you? I've been through something. I've been through that. I can share with you that experience. And the to something, I'm 50 years old. I've owned 12 businesses. I've built this. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I've been through life. I can share that with you. But I can't show you how to get $1 million. I ain't get $1 million yet. So don't ask me. Like, what's the key to getting $1 million? I don't know.
Yeah.
I can show you how to get to $500,000. That I can show you how to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's knowing what your strengths are and who, as you said, who you are. Because that exercise you just said about working inside out, it seems like you've done that for yourself. So you know what you can offer. You know what you can put on the table, what you bring to the table, right? So,
and you got, that's like walking in your strengths. It's like a athlete. It's like a basketball player knowing their go-to move. You got to know your go-to move. Like Kobe and MJ had to fade away to get it off. Steph, he's got something to create that little bit of space just to get his shot off. And so you got to know, and I know my go-to move. I didn't get success until I got serious and I purged from the inside out. I had to stop smoking, stop drinking, stop hustling, stop chasing, stop living life contrary to what I wanted from life. And once I made that decision and made that change, everything that I wanted or was working, everything I asked for started coming to me because I earned it. So let me just tell your listeners, stop asking for stuff you haven't earned.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw you said that in one of your Instagram videos as well about money. You said it was specifically about money. You said stop trying to chase money and start to earn it. And you said that you don't actually chase money. You just do what you need to do, and it comes to you. So yeah.
Somebody told me yesterday. I think CJ was talking. He was with the game changes day before yesterday, and it's that cliche. You say don't chase money, and then CJ said, and we know it's usually the people that got money that tell you don't chase money. Right? And I know I used to be the guy that was like, yo, don't tell me not to chase money. I need to get this bread. You got it already. But I learned the principle. The principle is be great at what you do, and people will pay you to be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I actually put out a video on Instagram myself because I put out daily videos, just short snippets of advice on different topics. And one of them was about money. And I wasn't sure. I was like, I'm not a millionaire, so should I really be talking about money? I was thinking twice, and I thought, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to put it out there because I truly believe in this principle. And what I said was, and people agreed, was think money comes from other people. That's who pay you, right? That's where the money comes from. So instead of chasing money, why don't you provide value so those people can open wallets? Give them a reason to open their wallet. That's it. That's all you have to focus on. And you can only do that if you can provide value. And so I may not be, as like you said, a millionaire. I'm not right now, but I'm starting to think in that mentality, in that mode, because I know if I keep thinking and acting in that way, eventually it will come. Eventually it will come. You just need to get the right frame of mind. So, you know.
And that's what I tell people. Like, people are always saying, so I tell people, you don't have a money problem. Money is not your problem. You have a mind problem. It's the way you think about money. And so this guy said to me, he was like, man, I'm just poor, man. I'm just a poor man. I'm like, you're not poor. Poor is a condition. Broke is a situation. What you're doing is you're turning a situation into a condition. And you're not poor. There are people in countries that are poor. They're in a condition that they can't change. You are broke. You're in a situation that if you get your butt up and do something extra, if you expand your capacity, you can change your situation. Yeah.
No, that's powerful. Yeah. So that leads me on to asking you next, what's the most frequent or number one thing that your clients ask you to coach them on?
Yes, and I'm glad you asked that. So it's crazy because people will come to me and be like, can you, I want you to coach me on how to be a speaker. I want to be a speaker. I want to be like E.T. I want to be like you. Everybody, I mean, they want me to show them how I got to where I am. Not just from the speaking and the coaching aspect, but also how did you get to walk with the guru? I tell people all the time, let me not say I rock with E. He rocks with me because I grind. I don't ask for anything. I serve. That's it. Like, I grind. I create my own money. I'm not asking for a check, for a position, or I have my own brain. I run my business through the brand, through their brand, almost like Nike and Kobe, but I run my own, like I have my own brand. I don't, and so I'm able to do it because I work. And so what they want to do is they want me to coach them on speaking. And the crazy thing is, I tell them I'm not, people don't know me. I'm not a speaking coach. I can teach a monkey how to speak, but it ain't no big deal. Teaching somebody the techniques of speaking is no big deal. What you really want to do is grow your character and build your leadership. And once you do that, the business aspect will come to you.
Yeah. So, I mean, how many people have you put through like your own academy or trained up as speakers? Have you been doing that for quite some time now, or is that something that you started doing recently?
Yeah. So I've been doing the BOSS program we're in our 4th semester right now. I think I've graduated probably about 50 or 60 speakers through my BOSS program. But in Grindation, I have a program called G Squad, which is speaker training and development online, where we've got over 100 speakers online in that online training program. And so what I like to do is have them, you're in G Squad, you're learning the fundamentals of speaking, but then we bring you into BOSS, which is the business of speaking. And that's that business side that you need. And we do 4 video sessions and then 2 full-day boot camps. So, currently, we're in the first quarter of BOSS for 2018, but I've already run 3 programs in 2017, summer, fall, and winter program. And I think we graduated from those 3, probably about 50 or 60 people. And in the current class, I've got 30 people. And then I'm about to actually open up second quarter's class, I think tonight or tomorrow morning, I'm gonna drop it so people can start registering for that. But over in Grindation, I've got the G Squad, which is my online speaker training and development. And we got about 100 people in that class where we just training online, speaker training online, developing your story online. And so what I like to do is bring them from G Squad over into BOSS. And so we run like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that sounds interesting. So if someone was to enroll in becoming a certified speaker under yourself, what would they expect? I mean, is it the fact that you sort of start by trying to pull out the story from them? Like, what is their life story and then start there? Or how is it that you typically like to start the training?
Everything starts with the story, everything. So the first thing is you figure out what is your ULE, your unique life experiences. And so I have them frame 4 unique life experiences to become your core story. And we develop the story, and then we show you how to deliver the story. Develop it and deliver the story. So you want to make sure that you know the story, you're developing the story, and you're delivering the story, because from that story, everything else is going to come. And it's not just the story, it's the principles and the lessons that come after the story.
Yeah.
Like, remember what I said at the beginning, nobody cares about your story until you can tell them how you came through what you've been through. Yeah. So you can't just get up and just tell a story. And you have to tell the story in the context of the audience that you're speaking with. That's why you need to be able to not have to think about what kind of presentation you're doing, but more so think about the audience and what the audience needs from you. So you don't go into an audience full of high school kids talking about what 50-year-olds do. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah, it has to be relevant, doesn't it, to that audience to keep them engaged?
It's got to be relevant. Yeah.
So, I mean, just going back a little bit, you also mentioned about someone finding their strengths and going all in on that, which is what you did with speaking, obviously, years ago. So if someone's struggling to find that craft, that strength, or that unique experience that they need to go all in on, how would you sort of advise them to start searching for that in their life?
Yeah, so your unique life experiences could be something as simple as, like I said, your mom telling you don't go out, and you went out down the street and you bust your head open, whatever, did something you weren't supposed to do. Or taking something so simple. So I was an alcoholic, and I didn't even realize I was an alcoholic. Just maybe in the last year or two, I started saying that I was an alcoholic because I thought that I just drank too much. But statistics say that a certain percentage of people never recover from that. That's unique for me. I've been married before. Statistics say that some people don't recover from divorce. I'm in the high percentile because I'm married now. And so those type of things in your life statistics say that 90% of every business, new startup fails. I'm way past that. You know, I'm not failing. So that's unique. That's unique for me. So like for you, you said you used to have a skin disease.
Yeah.
What do the statistics say about people that have that disease? How do they recover? Do they not? Like what makes it unique for you? And so what I tell people is find those unique experiences. That's what's going to separate you. Ain't nobody told you they slept in the airports. They told you they've been homeless, but they ain't sleep in the airports just to go and do something. You know what I mean? So find those unique experiences. And when you know your stories, it's that much easier to just sit down and not do a presentation, but have a conversation.
Yeah, that's powerful. I think it's as you said, it's a simple exercise, but one that will really help you bring meaning out of your life, you know?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then what I do is it's not just an exercise. You have to do it in a video. And you have to do it in a certain amount of time. So people are like, I do a 10-minute video. So people say, well, how am I going to fit all of that in 10 minutes? You can.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
And that's the practice. And you have to practice it. You got to practice that.
Yeah, definitely. I agree because you only get a given time slot depending on whatever gig it is. You know, not everyone's going to let you speak on forever. So you have to learn to share the message in that given time that you can give it. Yeah, makes sense. So just to wrap this up, I've got a few questions that I always ask every guest. So I'm interested to see what you'd say. So if you were to go back to the 18-year-old Kendall, like with all the knowledge and the reflection that you've done on your life now up to this age, what would you tell him if you could tell him anything?
Don't quit. There were some times in my life where I quit and I paused. Don't quit. And like I know 20s, 21s, don't quit. Because there were times when I was on this road. I was on the road several times in my life and I quit. Don't quit. Don't pause. Just keep going.
Yeah.
That's it. I wouldn't change anything else. I'm still want to do all the foolishness that I did.
Yep.
I want to learn all the lessons that I had to learn. Just don't quit.
Yeah. It makes sense because I think so many people give up, or you feel like giving up just before you're going to get it, just before you're going to get the first piece of result, right? So, yeah. And the second question is, if you could write anything to your great grandchildren, you could write them anything in a message right now and bury it in a time capsule. What would you want them to read?
Pop did that. Pop did that. So I always say in my talks, I tell my kids, I want you to put a picture of me up over on the mantle over the fireplace.
Yeah.
Not a family picture, just me. Just me on the picture. And at the bottom of the picture, I just want it to be inscribed, Pop did, because they call me Pop. Pop did that. That's it. I did that. And what that means is everything that I'm doing for legacy. Pop did that.
Yeah.
Everything that I'm doing for my great. So I got 4 children biological, and I got 3 children through marriage, and I have 6 grandchildren. Right? Pop did that. So I'm not just doing it for the grandbabies. I'm doing it for the great, and the great. Pop did that.
Yeah. To change the course of your lineage, man. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. But see, the crazy thing is, I'm telling people, and I'm showing my family right now. So sometimes we get so caught up and we think it's so far out. I'm changing the legacy today.
Yeah, that's the thing. So this is where it starts. This is what my page and my community is all about. It's about legacy, and it's not about this thing. I was having a conversation with someone a few episodes ago, and we were talking about, or he was telling me about how people start thinking about their legacy at 50 or 60, you know. And I was saying to him, that's crazy because you're living your life now. Everything you're doing now counts towards that. Because when you get to the age of 50 or 60, everything you've done up to that point either counts or it doesn't. You're either proud of it or you're not. You know, why wait till then? And on top of that, who said you're going to get to that age? You can't be foolish enough to think that nothing is going to go wrong from now to 60, that you're going to still be alive. Exactly. You don't know. So think about it today, even if it's just a little bit. Think about it today, because all the actions you're doing will affect all the days and the years to come. You know.
Yep. Exactly. I love it.
So just going into the last question then, what's the, you're 90 years old. Imagine you're 90 years old. You're looking back on your life. What's the message or the legacy you want to leave behind?
That, I just want to be an example that whatever it is that you have in mind for your life, and people always use the slogan like, you can be it, you can do it, you can have it. I want to be the example that says you can you can. Like and look, not just me telling you, but showing you, not just physically, but letting you see that, and through transparency, my downs just as well as my ups. Like opening up my life to you, letting you know I was an alcoholic, that I used to sell dope, that I used to, be a womanizer and all this other crazy stuff, that you can change early in life or later in life, but you can change. And when you put your mind to something and have a mantra, you can do anything that you want. Like if somebody else, was a dude, back in the day, there was a Roger Bannister. They were saying nobody can run a mile in under a minute or under 4 minutes. And he ran a mile in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Before he did it, nobody thought that it could be done. But he can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It just takes one person to change the course of history and what's possible. Because after that, thousands of people started running. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just saying, after Roger Bannister did it, thousands of people started doing it. It just takes one person.
Yeah, and you got to see it. So it doesn't matter if nobody sees it. So now we're fortunate enough to have the internet. We're fortunate enough to have all of these different platforms and channels to share our life. And I think that it's so important not to share. I mean, no, not to. It's good to see people getting into the private jets. That's good because you want to aspire to have the great things in life. But somebody need to show up. I'm doing a documentary when I was sleeping in the airport. Like somebody need to show that this grind is not glamorous. The work from the inside out is not glamorous. There's relationships that you have to repair. There's things that you have to do. There's the inside work that has to be done. And I think when people see it, especially with my family and my legacy, that 19-year-old, when they see it, they know like, oh yeah, if Pop did that, anybody, I promise you, if I could do it, anybody can do it because I'm not that sweet.
Yeah. Listen, man, this has been an amazing episode so far. Amazing conversation. I've enjoyed it. And if people want to connect with you or follow, your journey from now on, where can they find you and connect with you?
And this is crazy because I always do this all the time because I love it because I can. I just tell them to Google me. Just Google my name, Kendall Ficklin, Kendall, because there was a time when I couldn't do that. So I just love to say, just Google me now. Like when they used to Google me, they might have saw the mugshot. They saw all of these different things. So just Google me, Kendall Ficklin, Kendall, F as in Frank, Ickli, N as in Nancy, and you can Google me or go to kendallficklin.com.
Amazing, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with my audience today. I think everyone's going to love this episode.
Oh, thank you, V. Keep up the great work. I'm watching you. I'm seeing what you're doing, and I appreciate the opportunity.